Okay, introducing our newest sponsor, Swimtraxx. Swimtraxx is the smartest swim-specific tracker ever. It registers a ton of swim data that is translated into valuable, real-time insights. It tracks the three most important data points for coaches and swimmers: time, heart rate, and stroke rate. You and your swimmers can now, from just one device, make sure you're training in the correct energy zones with the correct number of strokes. Visit swimtraxx.com and schedule your free demo today. That's Swimtraxx, TRAXX.com, swimtraxx.com. All right, we are recording, man. Jeroen Lecoutere, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you, Brett?
I'm good. Where are you coming from?
I'm currently living in our home office. It's like 15 minutes from Brussels in Belgium. So
Okay, nice, awesome. Well, listen, man, another crazy swimming story. I mean, you have a great life story. You're doing some amazing things in swimming. We're proud to have recently partnered with you, just recently, the podcast and Swimtraxx. So congratulations on the business, man.
thank you so much. It's been a long way already since 2018, but actually we started in 2011. So we launched
Wow.
last year. So it's been a long road. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you can actually give me some advice on startups, because today is, as you can see, it's the first time I'm actually in Boston. I'm at our startup, Any Question, and I'm coming live from the office today. So we're just starting this journey ourselves, man, figuring it out. So the whole startup world it's something new and unique to me, but it's a lot of fun, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the app. Any question? It's just amazing to get all that content and information out. I think a lot of things are happening in sports and particularly in swimming as well in the tech space. So
Yeah.
it's super exciting to be in that and working in that.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jay, tell us. I'm going to call you Jay. So, listen, tell us about your story. I mean, you're a swimmer. You have a swimming story, just like all of us, and yours is very unique and interesting. So, tell me, where did it all start for you?
Well, like many kids, I started swimming very young, right? Like at 3 years old.
Hmm.
I learned swimming back in Singapore because my parents were living there for their work. And well, super hot there, as you know, and we learned how to swim. And I just kept swimming. And from a young age, I got picked up in the balance system when we were back in Belgium. Joined national teams, international competitions. Eventually, actually, also went to Ohio State. Did a year of varsity there. Went back, combined everything with studying engineering. Then I got the opportunity to do a master's thesis in what actually eventually ended up being Swimtraxx. Was totally different back then. It was 2010. Um, because of that master's thesis, I was super interested in it. Like technology and swimming was something I always wanted to do. I got offered a PhD in similar technology. Got the opportunity to go to Australia, so I'm there during that PhD, and then eventually, after all that, started the company and launched the product last year. And we're expanding to the US since September now, and also globally in the past few weeks. So it's been very busy and very exciting, and a lot of fun talking to well, swimmers, coaches, triathletes all over the world, delivering technology for them and really making a difference, I think, and providing data and tech to swimming. So we're really happy with where we are today.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot to dig into there, and kind of I like the fact that you said making a difference. I mean, that's ultimately what you're doing here. You're trying to evolve the sport, move it forward, and not only, like you said, just the swimming pool side of it. There are many facets to swimming and different ways to do it. And triathlon is huge as well. I'm meeting many triathletes in the Any Question space that we're doing. The people that I'm good friends with Greg Bennett, who's a former world champion. So lots to learn and grow from there. But in terms of just the genesis of the idea, behind Swimtraxx, I mean, you've got this engineering background, this engineering pull. How did it come about initially?
I think it all started with when I was 18, 17 years old. Actually, when I was at Ohio State, I was into aeronautical engineering. Very passionate about everything aerospace and flying. Um, but there's a transfer to swimming as well, especially in that age, 2004, 2005, super suit era. I was really interested in doing fluid dynamics with swimming somehow and understanding how it all works. So I've been always interested in technical aspects of the sport, biomechanics, but also everything related to physiology and how the system of the human body works. And eventually I started engineering with the idea of doing something with computational fluid dynamics and the flows of that, and actually took a lot of courses in that throughout my studies. But through my master's degree in biomedical engineering, I just found the passion of measuring and the whole rise of wearables coming up in that time was something I was super interested in, and eventually I went into that. So the super suit actually inspired me to do swimming technology, and I ended up doing something completely different, which is making a swim tracker.
It's funny that you mentioned the super suit. I actually have a podcast coming out today, which will be irrelevant to this conversation in a couple of weeks when we put this out. But the podcast I did with Sonny, the swimsuit guy, we actually talk about, you know, the evolution of the suit and what that did and how it changed swimming. But you're right, like there was a lot of thought and discussion on what the suits were actually doing back then and how they were doing it. And people couldn't really quantify it at the time. It was very difficult to put into words what the suits were doing. And so this is where I guess the advent of maybe the swim data came in, of like, tell us what these suits are doing. Like, we need to see it. We need to see the data on what is exactly happening here. And I mean, it just exploded. So in terms of the basic idea behind Swimtraxx, what was it? What were you initially looking for?
Yeah. So what I saw in those years, like 2010 and later on, was that if you look at other sports, and like Belgium is a huge cycling country. If you look at cycling, you can attach all kinds of things on your bike, right? So you can attach a GPS, you can attach a power sensor, you can attach a cadence sensor. They even have wind sensors now, heart rate sensors, and all that kind of stuff. So, cycling is a quite simple sport technically. You just pedal around. It's all about the physiology and getting that right, and they can actually quantify it like amazingly. They know almost exactly what you're doing on it. And looking at that, I was looking at swimming, and we're like, we just don't know what's going on, right? We have some view on the technical aspect and getting dragged down, getting propulsion up. Obviously, we are very experienced in the physiology of swimming as well, because we train so hard and we just really know how that works. But I think on the measuring side and understanding our sport, we're still quite early stage. I think we still don't really understand how to swim the perfect race. We're still exploring that. You can see that with all the evolutions of the swimflation going on, that people are finding new ways to go faster. And my passion is just trying to understand that, and how can you make the biological system, being the human being, making that more fast, but also understanding how to move through the water more efficiently. So that's basically where that came from.
Wow, yeah. Interesting enough. I'm not sure how deep I've gone into this, but a very vivid memory of mine is actually 2009 at the World Championships, where we do have the super suits, and I'm coaching a bunch of the world's best swimmers, sprinters especially. But Cesar Cielo was in a fight with Alain Bernard at that time for the crown of the world champion, and also being the first person to really swim under 47 seconds, break the world record kind of thing. That was the race at the time. And I remember between the semis and the finals, we knew it was very close, right? And one of the Australian sports scientists came up to me and handed me some data, some swim analytics. And he said, I just wanted to give you this because I thought it might be useful for you, and maybe you could pick something up for the final. And one of the things that we noticed at that time was stroke length, stroke count, the number of strokes he was taking on the way down, the number of strokes he was taking on the way back, the length of his stroke. We found that Alain Bernard was swimming much more at a higher frequency with less efficiency. And so what I said to Cesar at that time was like, look, I think he was very long in the semifinal. And what I took from the data was basically if we just add a stroke, okay, here, and put a little bit more on the front end, I think you can get out a little faster and then close a little faster. And that was kind of the methodology behind our tactics at that point in time. And he ended up going out and doing exactly that and breaking the world record. So the data was the thing that got us over the line, right? Like the training was the thing that got us there. The data was the stuff that got us over the line. So I think the things that you're doing with Swimtraxx are so important for coaches and swimmers to just find that 1% that they need at the most important times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we do is we get heart rate and all swimming parameters. So we do get that stroke rate out there. We go out split times, turn times even. So if you build up your race, you get that start, you get that underwater phase, you get that swimming phase, and to quantify all that and find where the difference is and where you can make that real difference is something you'll see in data, because you like as swimmers to do it intuitively, but the data then can pinpoint like where to get that intuition a little bit better and get the feeling in the water bit of stage. So that's what we're doing.
It's quite a relevant topic as well, obviously, with the announcement from FINA that's come out just recently in terms of being able to use wearables, right, in competition now. So just for those that don't fully understand what happened recently, can you explain that rule and how it's changed?
Sure. So up until now, you could use wearables during training, obviously, but you couldn't wear anything that tracked your swim. So what FINA has decided is basically what the NCAA decided a few years ago, I think by now, is that you are allowed to wear trackers during racing. So basically to have a race analysis collected automatically without having the need to do the video and then do the whole post analysis. So basically have the tracker do it for you, with the very important rule that it's not allowed to give you any feedback. So there's no screens allowed or no pacing allowed, because that's still the overcoaching rule, right? So you're not allowed to have that. But purely collecting data during your race is something which is allowed from January 1st onwards, which is really exciting. And they're also looking into, I know we talked with them, to entertainment options, to have that more on the screen and these kind of things. But that's obviously something for the future. And that's, yeah, I think very exciting, because if you look at the racing right now, you get that speed on the screen. If there would be more options on that and deeper analysis going on during the race or maybe post race, that would be, I think, a very valuable thing.
Give us some specifics, because I think it could be valuable too. But I think initially, maybe the first few seasons, you're going to have swimmers who just aren't used to wearing these things at all, and they might not even be used to analyzing data. So in terms of these, this next generation of swimmers, you may have these smart swimmers who understand exactly what the data means. So for the next few years, while swimmers are getting used to this, what would be the point for them to put the tracker on during a race? What are the very specific feedbacks that they could get straight after the race?
Yeah, so basically what you get today, if you're, for example, swimming Australia or something like that, you get everything, right? So you get your underwater times, you get your stroke rates, the amount of strokes of a lap, you get the time you took over your turn, then way back the same thing, obviously. So every lap is fully analyzed. You get your amount of breaths, and that's actually what comes out of a Swimtraxx as well. So if you would wear that during a race, you'll get that information. You get all those splits, stroke rates, breath counts, even your heart rate throughout the race. So you get that analysis without actually the need of doing the full video analysis. Obviously, video might be still very interesting to look at technique and the biomechanical specific motions, but getting those that table of data, which has been done a lot of the times manually with a stopwatch or video post processing, will be something that goes on automatically with a tracker.
Wow. Now, listen, you said like the idea came around 2010. You started kind of the early stages of the business 2011, but didn't launch until 2018. There's a big time frame there. So what's going on in that period? And I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't want to launch something that isn't effective and accurate. So I imagine in that time you're working on building the accuracy of this device, right?
Yeah, and what I was doing back then was I was actually focusing in my PhD on the technology side of it and applying it in medical applications. So swimming is obviously less funded in a PhD space than medical applications. So I was actually working on that. That was my job. But I always had it on my back head, like, how can I apply this in swimming? And then after my PhD finished, I decided to just go for it, right? I was just looking for something new. I was doing another job, but I was just thinking, how can I get this thing off the ground? And in 2018, I just started the business, and built it up, built a team here in Leuven, of engineers building every aspect of it, hardware, software, application, everything. And then we went through COVID, which was super interesting, of course, on a production side, but also like managing the team. And then we launched last year when pools were all open again. So yeah, it's been an interesting road and with a lot of sidetracks, but since 18 is full focus.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but do you have one of the devices handy that you could grab that we could look at?
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, I was actually thinking
I
about
should have
that.
prepped you on that one.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking I'll get it. Just in the room.
Yeah,
Just give me a second.
yeah, go grab it, man. We'll check it out because I really want to see the device itself because I think it's important to have an understanding of what this thing actually looks like and feels like, and how it can relate to the swimmers here. So here we go.
All right. Okay.
Beautiful. We're back. See that little pause in? There we go.
Here we are. So I took a full team kit because that's maybe really interesting. So this is a team kit.
Okay, beautiful.
So it's a small box.
Wow.
Which houses 10 of them. So if I take one out,
Yep.
this is a Swimtraxx.
Okay, I'm gonna go full screen here. Yeah.
So this is it.
Okay.
And you wear it right there. So on your goggles.
Wow.
What it does is it has the heart rate tracker right there.
Oh.
And it has motion sensors inside and everything. So you can strap it onto your goggles or put it on your cap, whatever you want, as long as the sensor makes like skin contact to get your heart rate out. It'll do its work. And then what you do is you swim, and when you breathe, it knows you're breathing. When you do a breaststroke, it knows you're doing breaststroke. It knows what stroke you're doing. It knows what times you're doing for every lap, every stroke, every breath, every heart rate comes out of it. So it's super small, it's super thin. So that was something we really worked on to get it really tight and basically you don't feel it when you're swimming. That was something that was really important for me because there are trackers and watches out there that are just annoying. So we just wanted to have this one out there and then have like the most comfortable thing out there. You can see it's really thin on the front, so it really tapers down to your goggles, so your goggles don't get lifted or any water coming in. So this is it.
Beautiful, man. It's actually good looking too. You know, it's a good looking piece of wearable. So, and it doesn't look like it would interfere with anything at all. I mean, it just basically sits on your skin. So, you get used to it very quickly. I mean, incredible in terms of what it does. Now, how does all that information then appear? What does it look like?
So we have two apps. We have a mobile app, basically where you can go swimming and you offload it on your phone like any typical sports application, right? So you can see your workout afterwards. That's available on the mobile app store for both Android and iOS, actually freely available. So you can just download that. We have a button in the settings where you can generate dummy workouts. So I think that's the easiest way to have a look at that. And then we have a tablet app, which I maybe can show. I don't know if it's going to work well on the screen, showing a screen on the screen, but
yeah.
Basically what you have is, just let me get this here. So you can have your list of swimmers.
Oh yeah, okay.
And you dive into that and you get like a full information of them. This is me. This is like all the volume I did. You can go through all the workouts.
Wow.
You can dive into a workout. You can see the heart rate graph popping up. You can see the sets.
Wow.
It just gets out all the information, 1650s, backstroke, whatever you've done. It knows you've done that. No input needed. It can just do your full team management, right? So you just connect as a coach with a tablet to the account of your athlete, and you get that information out and you can see all their workouts, see what they've done, and just dive into it. And you can use it however you want. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. It looks super advanced too. I mean, I've seen some, like, look, there's competition out there for everybody, right? There's certainly competition for you, but in terms of what you're doing, how you're producing it, it seems like you're certainly at the top of the leaderboard when it comes to kind of the understanding and everything seems effective to me. Like the wearable seems effective. What you just presented on the screen looks easy to read and understand. It seems like it's very advanced, man. You've done a really good job.
Well, thank you so much. We've been working really hard on it. The thing is, I'm a swimmer. Some of the people on the engineering team are swimmers. That helps, I think, in understanding not to make a box that you don't like to wear during swimming, like for example, that, and making an app which is just useful for a coach and for a swimmer, and understanding how to present that workout, how to look at that heart rate. And we're still learning, of course, right? So we're getting a lot of feedback from coaches and athletes using it, improving the system, creating dashboards for them, and these kind of things. And people are all using the data, learning from it, and getting like next level insights, right? So that they're like, okay, like this week I want to have like the next level view on what we've been doing so far. So we're still working on it every day, pushing out free updates on be it firmware, being it on the app, and improving that. We just really want to be the best company providing value in data for athletes. So that's what we want to be, and I think we've been doing quite well so far.
Now, in terms going back to this whole FINA thing, is this a wearable that you've had some sort of agreement with FINA with? Are they able to wear your wearable now?
So actually, at this stage, as we're now doing the interview, FINA is still determining the exact specifications for sensors, but they have told us that it should be fine. We don't know yet if there's going to be some accreditation system, or like with the suits where you get this logo, or like just have to be compliant with some specs. So we're waiting on them for that. They're working on it as we speak. But yeah, for sure we will be fine because we don't give any feedback. There's no screen on it. There's no pacing on it. So it's just collecting data. So it's completely fair play in a race. So yeah, should be fine.
What about in terms of, vision? Is there a vision for maybe taking this beyond that, where there is some feedback, like some screen feedback in the future? Like, what are you looking at in the future?
We are definitely looking. So what you can do today is you can put the iPad on the side of the pool, and it will show you live what the athlete is doing. So that's already going on. So actually, as a coach, you can see all that data during the workout on the iPad. You can see all heart rates coming in. You can see all stroke rate or splits coming in. So people use it a lot to get the splits coming in and get the heart rates coming in. So you don't need to use that stopwatch all the time anymore. But for what the future brings, is basically what the customer wants us to do. So we really are learning from them, and we have some ideas, obviously, for future products and future features. But you'll see it when they come out.
Nice, I love it. Now, tell me this: in terms of, like, obviously this is worldwide now. So how do people get a hold of this if they're in Australia, America, South Africa, wherever?
Yeah, just go to our website, www.swimtraxx.com. You can order it there, or you can ask actually for a demo. If you want to see how this team kit works, or how the apps work, I can show you, or somebody on the team can show you in a live demo. So that's how you get it. Just on our website, all the information is available to order or to get a demo.
Nice. And can you give us an idea of basically the price range for it?
Yeah, it's $4.99 US, €4.99. So that's about the price range we're at. It kind of depends on region, of course, but that's where we are about per unit. Obviously, when we get the team kits out, we do give discounts. So that's something we typically discuss with the teams. But that's where we are.
Now, is this like a subscription fee as well, like a yearly thing or something?
Yeah, so we don't have a subscription fee. So you can actually use a Swimtraxx. You buy it and you can pass it on. The thing is that we do connect it to an account, and we do have some options for teams to make that a little bit easier through subscription fees. But we never charge per athlete. Yeah, per unit. If you buy 10 units, like a team kit, we do give like a plan to be able to use really easily with as many athletes as you like. So we don't like to charge per swimmer, because we just give you a unit, and we just want to charge it per unit and not a per athlete basis.
I love it, Jay. Well, listen, you're obviously very analytical when it comes to, the swimming science. Where's the line here between how much of this the swimmers should actually be taking in and analyzing, and then kind of that ability? I mean, you're a world-class backstroker, right? Like, you know what it's like to stand up behind the blocks. You want your brain to be free at times. You want to just feel like you can just go. So, like, where's that line between taking this information in and then just allowing the performance to happen, you think?
Absolutely. That's a really good question, actually. So it's also something we're looking at related to getting it with the FINA regulation in racing. We are looking at how we can make this really easy for the athlete in the pre-race routine, because you do not want somebody to be standing on the blocks pressing a button. That's just really annoying. So we're just looking at how we can make that easy. When would the swimmer like to activate the system? These kind of things. But on a training basis, I think there's a big range of how people use it, and what I would recommend, but it's only me, of course, is to just use it, wear it every day, offload your workout, but not be driven by what comes out of it every day, right? If you have a recovery workout and it's just a recovery workout, just register it, and you don't need to look at it. Just have it there if you ever need it. I think there are, and I see this in cycling a lot, for example, people super focused on hitting certain power levels or certain heart rates. I mean, the feel in the water is something really important. I believe feeling your body, understanding at what effort level you are, is more important happening in your brain than somebody or some sensor telling you. I think that's a very important skill to have. So I think it can be like a tool to help you in that, but it's always you yourself that should be working on it and learning and teaching yourself how to feel your body. So that's why we made it super comfortable. So you're not busy with it all the time. It's just sitting there like your goggles, like your swimsuit. It's not something you're wearing extra. It's not something you're going to be looking at during your workout because you don't have a screen. Your coach might look on a tablet and give you feedback. I think that's the best way to get information out, through a coach. But I think as a swimmer, you should be focused on swimming, and that's the main idea of the whole product, actually.
Is it difficult for coaches that aren't kind of scientific, analytical, whatever? Is this difficult sell for them to say, like, look, this is how simple it is to use?
Actually, I talked to some coaches when I was in Budapest for World Championships, and they just like to write down their workouts in a paper notebook and not do anything more. This was a coach of a very famous 200 butterflyer who is now the world record holder. I mean, there are coaches that just like to have the intuitive approach, which I think is fine. I think is great. I do think data can help make intuition even better, right? So that's what we typically say to those people. But in general, I think we see a lot of coaches just jumping on this. I mean, getting that information automatically, not having to use your stopwatch all the time, like 3100s, timing that all the time, and just focusing on hitting that button when the hand hits the wall. That's something that's no longer necessarily needed with the Swimtraxx. So I think that's really our main goal, is to alleviate some really repetitive, non-value adding tasks that a coach has, being just registering everything while it's not always necessary. So that's what we focus on, and I think a lot of coaches are seeing that value.
I like that idea, actually. It's like the way of the future, right? Like, don't just keep doing things the way they've always been done. Like, if you look at swimming generally, over the past 30, 40 years, it hasn't really evolved that much, right? So, like, I feel like now we're in this technological phase where Swimtraxx is coming in and saying, hey, let's look at these things and change the sport, evolve the sport, and help it grow, and maybe not just do something over and over again because that's the way it was done in the past. So I really feel like this could revolutionize the sport and take it to another level. Swimmers and coaches are always asking, are we going to see somebody swim under 20 seconds in the 50 free? Is somebody going to swim under 14 minutes in the 1500? Things like that, like things that are off in the future. But the way that we're going to get there is through technology like this, I believe. I really do.
Yeah, I think understanding better what we're doing is always going to make us better, right? So that's the main goal. And just creating this technology space in swimming. I mean, You mentioned before there might be some competition for us. I mean, I think we're leading. We're happy to have other companies joining that space. I think it only can make each other better, just like in swimming, right? If you'll be swimming the only person in the world, you need that ecosystem, and that's also something we want to do, right? We want to bring decent technology to swimming. I think that has been lacking for a long time, while other sports have been getting it in abundance. So that's also one of our missions, to bring that to the sport, create a tech space, making everybody better, making the sport better, growing the sport, creating a tech economy around swimming, and then eventually our sport will grow with that as well, right? So that will flow back to the athletes in the end. So that's our main goal, by growing and improving the sport, and our technology background is just a means for that.
Well, listen, Jay, I like to align myself with winners, man. Always have. And I think you're a winner. Your company's a winner, and you're doing fantastic things, man. So proud to be part of small part of your journey in the future, and love to help in any way we can, help grow your business and help grow the sport of swimming. That's ultimately what we're trying to do. So I appreciate everything you're doing, man.
Thanks, Brett. This podcast is amazing. I've been loving it from the start. So it's just amazing for us to be part of that as well. And just like you, we just want to be part of just building our sport, making it better, educating athletes, and making our sport better, making them, branding them, making them ambassador for our sport. So really what you're doing is amazing. Thanks, man, so much.
Thanks, Jay. All right. Take care, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.